Alright, it's Morbin time. So friends, this is a thing people have talked to me about and wanted to know my opinions on after I finished watching the Morbius movie. So I am here today with my fangs in and my Morbius shirt on to tell you about my thoughts on the film. I'm just gonna give you guys the first reaction that I kind of had after I watched it last time. It's been a while now, so I'm actually gonna go back and rewatch it and then give you guys more of a breakdown on my like beat by beat thoughts. So here's the initial reaction. Wait, let me just hydrate first. I've got my Morbius Plasma G Fuel. All right, let's get mounted up for Morbius. Also, this G Fuel is weirdly like orange and sparkly. It's really tasty, but there is it's not very red or like bloody. Oh my gosh, dusty everywhere. Yeah, I wanted to show this to you guys. I don't know if you can see it on camera. Probably you can't, but it's like really sparkly. Can you see this, Chris? It's like really sparkly. Like, you can't see it, but I'll try to take a picture of it that can now be spliced into here by Jen. But yeah, it is weirdly sparkly and orange and not at all the color I thought it would be, which is, you know, red or purple, like a blood color. Anyways, it's really tasty though, so I would actually recommend the Morbius Plasma G Fuel if it's still available, which is a weird thing to say to people, but I would recommend. Exclusively in movie theaters, is what it says on there. Alright, so let's talk about my first few reactions. So, I'm actually gonna should I leave my fangs in? Can you still hear me talk? I have a bit of a lisp when I have my fangs in. Am I really lispy?
Somewhat.
A little lispy. I think I'm still audible though, so I'll leave them in. So, my first thoughts when I finished this movie was that this movie does not deserve the hate that it gets. And I know that might be a hot take, but I actually enjoyed Morbius. I actually had fun. I may have even liked it more than Venom. I know that's controversial to some people, because there's a lot of people out there that really love Venom. Venom is also, I feel, like a bit of a shit show, to be honest, but I personally liked Morbius better. And I think a lot of that actually boiled down to, for my like main takeaways, was a lot of the character stuff in this movie is actually pretty good. Like, Jared Leto as Morbius actually does a good job. I'd love to actually see more of him as Morbius. I'm not saying I'm here for the sequel, but I'm kind of here for the sequel. I guess. Other than that, there was some really cool stuff that they did with Morbius's powers in this movie, and it was just a fun time. Is it a perfect movie? No, not at all. Is it entertaining? Yes. Is it a good movie? Is it a dumpster fire? No, it's not a dumpster fire, and so I'm here to redeem it, to talk about that a little bit more. But yeah, that was my initial takeaway, was I had a fun time. Almost, I would say, maybe until like the exact end of the movie. But up until then, I had a pretty fun time. Also, Matt Smith as the villain, as Lucian in this movie. You should see this movie for Matt Smith. Matt Smith is awesome. He's obviously having a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun, and I also didn't think the CG was that bad. I don't know if that's controversial, but that's my thought. Alright, now I'm gonna go away and then I'm gonna rewatch it and then I'm gonna come back and tell you how I feel about it the second time and if I still like it. We'll see. Alright friends, so those were my initial thoughts. It has now been a few months, so fast forward a few months to now, the present, and for past Amanda, the future. We are going to be talking about my in-depth thoughts now on the movie. I went back, I watched it, I made notes, so let's talk about that. Yeah. Here we go. Morbius is a film directed by Daniel Espinosa, with writers Matt Sazama and Burke Sharpless, which by the way are the same duo who brought us Gods of Egypt and the 2017 Power Rangers film, and who are actually currently credited on Sony's 2024 Marvel film Madam Web on IMDb. I don't know if that will be a real thing or not, but if you liked Morbius, well, you better check out Madam Web, and if you didn't, oh boy. Madam Web. James Lewis is, I think, the art director on this movie, who I believe also worked on Tim Burton's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and 2017's The Mummy and The Batman, which we all love The Batman, I believe, so yeah. Alright friends, let's talk about some of the pros first. Let's talk about some of my favorite things in this movie, and then we will talk about the cons, so stick around for that, because I definitely have some things to say. So, the chemistry between Jared Leto, Morbius, and Matt Smith, who plays Milo or Lucian, is awesome. That is definitely definitely a pro for me in this movie, and I just like seeing these two actors on the screen together. I hope that we get more of that somewhere, because I actually really enjoyed it. Jared Leto is actually good as well as Dr. Michael Morbius. I really enjoyed his performance. I don't know if other people feel that way, but I really enjoyed it. I know he was painfully method on the set as well, holding up production time, but I do think he did a good job anyways, so maybe the methodness was worth it. Or maybe it wasn't. You decide. Other than that, I would like to say that I think the casting in general in this movie was pretty good. I think everyone was cast really well, and a lot of the performances were pretty good considering what they were given. The way the powers were displayed and the whole montage where Morbius like studies his powers is also super cool, the way that's all shown. I liked that a lot. Something that was never fully explored, but hinted at perhaps, was that Milo could actually be in love with Morbius. I liked how close these two are, but I kind of wish that they had committed if that was the direction, because that's kind of the sense I got from Milo, that he maybe was like in love with his friend but like didn't know how to say it, and that's why he's super jealous. So yeah, that's interesting. Milo also warns Michael about falling in love and seems to be jealous of the time he's spending with Dr. Martine Bancroft, which is kind of where I got that from. He also learns about the attack on the ship in the news, Michael's ship, where he was, conducting the final experiment in regards to their cure, and Dr. Emil Nicholas asks when he's coming to check in on him, "How's your pain today on 1 to 10? And Milo answers 11. Right after he watches this, which I feel like is more of like an emotional 11, because he's like, oh my gosh, my BFF / maybe the man I'm in love with, I'm not sure. Lucian also stares obsessively at Martine and Michael as they kiss on the rooftop later in the movie. Just another clue that I feel like he's maybe in love with at least one of them, if not Michael Martine, but I could see it more for Michael than Martine. Some of the fight scenes and the way they're shot are also pretty cool. I know it's a cliche, but I do like the slow motion that's used to show how fast Morbius moves and how deadly he is in the initial fight scene on the boat. Of course, like with most slow motion and fight scenes, does get overused throughout the movie a bit. Seeing the evolution of Michael's powers too, and how he goes from not knowing how to control the echolocation to being able to use and find criminals with it is pretty cool as well. And it's a nice touch to his evolution and his growth as, a reluctant hero who kind of doesn't know what he's doing and doesn't even know if he is a hero. I also love how Michael being a doctor plays into the way that he deals with criminals, breaking little bones in their hands, which honestly would be awful. Like, you have a lot of bones in your hands, did you know? Like, your hands or your feet? Oh, don't mess those up, because it's a lot of work to fix some of that stuff. Although, as Michael says, he's like, you'll be fine. These are like little fractures, so they'll just heal themselves. Take some ibuprofen, you'll be cool. Even though it was most cheese, I could honestly watch Matt Smith dance awkwardly forever as well. I mean, I am a big Doctor Who fan. I am a Whovian, so I think maybe part of that comes from there. I don't know, but that could be a whole movie and I'd probably love it. So I did like that moment. I know probably most people didn't, but yeah. I also still really love the design for Milo's apartment and his style in the film. It looks so good. So art direction, like thumbs up there, some cool stuff. Oddly enough, I also really love the relationship between Milo and Dr. Nicholas. I feel like it's pretty sweet, and I wish that we'd seen more of it kind of built and played with. A lot of the relationships, I feel like they could have done more with them in the movie. Which is a good segue to the cons of the film. These are the things that I didn't like. Oh boy, here we go. There's a lot of inconsistent style in this film. Like, that one circle transition outward near the beginning of the film feels like it was partially edited, and then like a new person came in, and either just, they really liked that one transition and left it in, or they forgot to change it. Like, I understand it's supposed to be kind of like a callback to like old school vampire movies, but like probably like Nosferatu and stuff like that. But why only one transition? Like, why isn't that consistent? I don't know. Science. Science is always interesting in comic book movies. At the beginning, Morbius says that vampire bats weigh almost nothing, but they can down an animal almost 10 times their size, which by the way is not true. That's not a real fact. Of course it isn't. But yeah, it's really not true. Stuff that was weirdly cut out, which honestly I would have loved to see, and I think it would have made the movie better. Why did we cut this stuff out? Michael's speech when he rejects the Nobel Prize, which is alluded to, but we never see the actual speech. Like, why did we cut that out? Did it take too long for them to film it and they were just mad at Jared Leto so they cut it out? I also feel like Lucian's violent vampire attack where he like just killed 3 guys in cold blood also supposedly got cut, I guess, because I don't know why. I mean, shouldn't we want to make him more of a villain? The part where Morbius tests himself by locking himself in his lab without blood, I have a question about that. How did he expect to get out? Where was that supposed to go? Because he's like, I gotta try this. It's like, you're either gonna die? You're gonna become a monster and then be unleashed on the world? I don't know. Was he looking to die? I don't know what's happening. Morbius states, but what happened on that ship can't ever happen again, which makes me think, I guess maybe he just wanted to be out of it. There are a lot of moments in this movie where I feel like the writing undermines the intelligence of the audience, like when the FBI agents come to check the boat and Agent Rodriguez says, oh, and get this, all the bodies you're looking at are nearly drained of their blood. This is a pet peeve, but I don't know why you wouldn't just say they were exsanguinated, because that's the word for that. Which literally means, you know, it means being drained of your blood, so why don't we just use that word? Other than the fact that this is a movie and you don't trust your audience to know what that means. Or you just want the agents to seem, I don't know, maybe less intelligent for some reason, maybe more down to earth, I'm not sure. Later, Rodriguez does mention exsanguinated, but he says he had to look it up. So he didn't know what that word meant, which seems strange to me. And later, still in the film at the hospital, they don't use this term when they find the nurse's body, instead saying she was drained of blood, when literally, I mean, you're doctors, so you would definitely say exsanguinated, I think. During Morbius's power montage as well, where he observes, I've even developed a form of echolocation, bat radar for the uninitiated. Bat radar? Who is Morbius recording these notes for? Other medical professionals and scientists? Or the audience? Why wouldn't you just say echolocation? Like, people will figure it out. Also, we're the audience. I know what echolocation means. Do you know what it means? Did you need it explained to you by Morbius? Morbius observes during his power studying montage, I've become something different. I feel a kinship with these creatures. They would tear anyone else apart, but they welcome me like a brother. So why are bats also being portrayed as violent in this movie? Because they're not violent in real life pretty much at all. Also, are bats particularly friendly to their brothers? Like, do they know who their brothers are? The reveal of Milo being a vampire was done far too quickly as well. Prolonging this secret would have actually made the reveal of him being the villain a lot more powerful, I think, in the movie, especially in regards to the relationship between Milo and Michael. Make us believe that Morbius is the monster, and then afterwards reveal that it was Lucian the whole time, who was basically using Morbius and who Morbius now has to defeat, despite their relationship and Lucian being like a brother to him. Because that would be like emotionally a lot more compelling and also just more interesting. The best thing about this film was their relationship, so I think you should make that as meaningful and as powerful as you can. Like, draw a big circle around it and then point everything into it. The scene with Jean and Milo at the pub was actually super cute, but also really weird and unnecessary given how it was used. I thought when Jean asked if she knew Milo and then she was like certain, oh no, I do know you, that was gonna mean something. Possibly lead to a redemption point with him or something. But we didn't really go anywhere with that. That was just a weird thing that was mentioned. I don't know why. Maybe it was brought up again in the violent attack that was cut? I don't know. Why is there a light up dance floor on the roof of the building that seems to be under construction where Martine was fatally wounded by Lucian? Is that a light from below the building? Why is there a dance up light floor there? What is that? Someone explain to me. Although I do understand the conflict between Milo and Michael and Milo's plan to try and be the last man standing with Michael, so he'll have no choice but to choose him and to make him hopefully drink the red. But how exactly did he think this plan would work? When Michael seems to be more inclined to fight him every step of the way. Was Milo prepared to kill Michael? Or did he really think that killing everyone around him, oh yeah, it's definitely gonna work and then he'll have to be with me and we'll have to be BFFs for life? There's something there that just doesn't really make sense to me, and I feel like if that had been developed a little bit more, I could understand it, but that plan, it's kinda janky. So my final thoughts on this film. Will we ever see the Sinister Six? I want to know, because I'd love to see them, but also Sony, you're breaking my heart a lot with the Sinister Six. I think bringing back Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man could actually tie this all together if we wanted to do that, but at this point I think Sony has one of the messiest universes of all of the things. Even more messy than DC and Warner Brothers universe, the DCEU, and it's pretty messy over there. This is really messy, so yeah. I kinda hope still though that we get to see Michael Morbius, because I did like Jared Leto as Morbius. I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts were on this movie. Thank you so much for patiently waiting for this long awaited review. I know you were all super bloodthirsty for it, so I hope you enjoy. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, Fan Gang, you stay nerdy. Bye!